On May 25th, 2020, an innocent black man's life was taken at the hands of an officer who pinned him down until he suffocated and died. His name is George Floyd. Hi guys, so this definitely is not my typical video. Definitely not something I ever thought I would, have to post or feel compelled to post, but with the recent events going on in the world, honestly it's been going on for many years, but this is the time where change really needs to happen. I didn't feel like it was right to post anything else on my channel before posting this. I've never really felt truly compelled by a situation that's going on in the world than I do with this right now. This has gone on for far too long, and this is something that needs to be changed. I know I have a very small audience on my channel, but with the little platform and the little voice that I do have, I want to spread awareness and I want to enact change in this country, because honestly I'm tired of seeing innocent black men and women dying every day at the hands of law enforcement. We're supposed to feel safe. We're supposed to not be scared in our own homes or in our own neighborhoods, and that really needs to change. I hope that you can stick around and watch this video and learn something from it and take action from this video, because I just really feel like that needs to happen, and I want you to stick around and hear it. So as I said in the intro, what kind of brought all of this about were the events on Monday, May 25th, when an innocent black man named George Floyd was basically pinned to the ground. Officer had his knee on his neck and he died. I'm pretty sure you've all heard that story at this point. If you haven't, then I'm not sure what you're doing or where you've been at. This is a problem. It has been a problem, and honestly the amount of names that I have found on lists of black men and women in America who have been wrongfully killed, it's sickening, honestly, that this is going on in this country where we are supposed to feel safe. We're supposed to be free. It's supposed to be the land of the free, correct? But if you are black, you probably don't feel free. You shouldn't have to feel scared. And before anyone asks, if I've never addressed this before, I am mixed. I am half black and I am half white. So this does hit me a little closer to home. Just because I'm not full black does not mean that it doesn't affect me. Honestly, it should affect everyone, whether you are black, whether you're white, whether you're any other race. This should be affecting you. This should be hitting you somewhere where you're like, wow, this isn't right. And if you somehow can justify that this is right and this is how the world is and this is how it should be, then I'm not sure you should be watching my channel, because that's wrong, and that is something I will stand for forever, because no one should be wrongfully killed and murdered in cold blood for basically no reason other than the color of their skin. One thing I do want to touch on regarding what is going on right now, there are a lot of protests going on right now, especially in Minneapolis, which is where the George Floyd murder happened, but they are happening all around the country as well. I just want to say, if you are going to protest, I fully support you. I think honestly at this point our voices will not be heard unless action is taken. Just saying you support, just saying you're an ally isn't enough at this point. Maybe 20 years ago you could have been okay just saying that, but at this point this has been going on since after slavery and after segregation. We're all supposed to be free now, but we're definitely not. Like I said, if you are going to protest, definitely just be safe with it. I don't necessarily condone looting. Just, that's my personal opinion, just because small businesses are being looted. Honestly, black owned small businesses are being looted as well, and that's, you know, the people who we are also fighting for, and that's not the best image. But like I said, protest at your own will and just be safe about it. One thing I want to touch on that I saw on social media, and I will put it on the screen. I don't like bringing politics and stuff to my channel just because everyone can have their own opinion and whatever, but at this point I'm kind of over it, and if it's on the screen already, you kind of already know. Donald Trump just has to go. I'm sorry. If you support him, I'm not sure how you can support him after saying these things. I don't know. He is honestly, I don't know. I have my own words towards him and everything, because as you can see from this, it's a comparison basically of the two separate times of protests that have happened within this past month, or I guess 2 months almost. April 16th was when the protests started for mostly, I want to say, white Americans who didn't want to be in quarantine anymore. They felt like their rights were being taken from them because they couldn't go get their nails done. They couldn't get their haircuts. They weren't able to go to the stores that they wanted to go to and buy their nice clothes. So they decided to protest, and they actually had guns and they had weapons with them because they were like, no, we're over this, with their signs. And Donald Trump literally defended all these people and was just saying that they are good people and they're just angry, you know, like they don't want to be in quarantine. Whatever, I definitely disagreed with that because this is called safety, so, you know, whatever on that. But then May 26th was when the protests started for the George Floyd incident and for the Black Lives Matter movement. And of course, Donald Trump had to put his big mouth in there and talk about black people and call us thugs and say that we are dishonoring the memory of George Floyd. And then I think the thing that made most people upset was when he said, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. And they basically called in the National Guard to Minneapolis and said, you know, you can go ahead and kill people who are protesting here. Definitely don't agree, but like I said, you can see the difference, and if from that you can't see the difference, then there's a problem. Like I said, it all has to do with race at this point and the racism in this country. A big thing I want to touch on as far as the George Floyd situation, and then I'll move on to a little bit more on the Black Lives Matter movement, is the officer who murdered George Floyd. There were 3 other officers involved and they didn't step up, they didn't try to help, they just kind of were standing there watching this man die, and they definitely do deserve jail time just as much as the officer who killed George Floyd. Again, you can argue, oh, they didn't kill him, but they played such a big role in that. They could have said, no, you should get off him. He can't breathe. This man is yelling. He cannot breathe. He cannot breathe. He knew he was going to die. On that video, we saw him take his last breath, and that honestly is not okay, and that needs to stop now. But back to the officer who was seen in the video kneeling on George Floyd's neck. If you haven't heard, he has been arrested and charged with the murder of George Floyd, which is great, but it's also not enough. It's a step, but it's not a full step, and it honestly should have been taken immediately. But the fact that it took, what, a day or 2 for him to be arrested and charged, and he hasn't been sentenced or anything like that, but for it to take that long is already a problem, because it should have been instant. On him, I will put this on the screen as well. I saw this online and it shocked me, and it honestly just made me lose all trust in this dang country, because this man, who is an officer, who is supposed to be protecting this country, who took an oath to his badge, has killed in the past. He's been put on leave. He shot another black man who was unarmed. He murdered a Latino man. He has had 12 police brutality complaints against him. 12. And he still had a job? If you don't see that as a problem, again, I'm not sure. That's the issue right there. You don't see that as an issue. 12 police brutality complaints. Did they not take that seriously? Honestly, they need to go higher up. Who is confirming that this is okay for him to be an officer? Because this could have been prevented years ago. Honestly, that's all I have to say about that situation, because I could go on and on for hours about that. That is a problem, and George Floyd is not the only one. There are so many black women and black men who have lost their lives not only this year, but for decades, for no reason. Unarmed, not resisting arrest, yet violence was used. If these cops are cowards and all they want to do is pull for their weapon, that is a problem. I know that they're trained, but to feel like you have this power in your hands that you can just kill someone, one, if you feel good about that, you have a problem. Like, that's a problem in itself. You should never feel good about killing an innocent person. And the fact that it keeps happening and these officers are still officers, like, I know there are good officers out there, But all of these situations make it harder and harder to believe. And it's also, you don't know who's a good officer if you're getting pulled over. You don't know. Before I continue, I do want to say that I will have a lot of resources linked in the description bar down below. There's a lot you can do towards this movement. Anybody and everyone should be doing something, should be taking action. You don't have to make a video. You don't have to necessarily put yourself out there and go to protests or anything if you don't want to. That is a personal preference. But you can donate if you have the means. You can just sign a petition. It is free. Sign all of the petitions that you can. Get justice for these people. Get justice for the black community, because it is 100% needed. And every step and every person can make that difference. You might think, oh, I'm only one person, I can't make much of a difference, but you can. All of us put together, we can make a difference in this country. We can make it better, and we can make it safer, because we shouldn't feel unsafe. It is 2020, for crying out loud. We should not feel unsafe in our own homes, in our own neighborhoods, in our cars. And if you've never felt that way, if you've never had to feel the fear either being pulled over or someone you love being pulled over and not knowing if they're going to make it home that night, not knowing if you're going to get to see them again, because you never know what's going to happen, then that shows your privilege. And it is okay to be privileged in that way, but use your privilege and use it as a voice. Show that just because you have privilege does not mean you can't help and support, because every voice can make a difference. So going on to the Black Lives Matter movement. First off, I want to say I'm tired of seeing stuff on social media. I'm tired of seeing stuff online about all lives matter. I don't want no comments about it, nothing. Because sure, every single person's life does matter. But right now, Black Lives Matter. Because Black lives don't matter already. And that's a problem. They need to matter. If you're not black, your life still matters. But it's known that your life matters. I want to read this. This is something that kind of, I thought, put it into perspective the best way that I've seen online right now, and I will put it on the screen. It says, saying all lives matter as a response to Black Lives Matter is like saying the fire department should spray down all houses in a neighborhood even though only one house is on fire, because all houses matter. Yes, your house matters too, but your house is not on fire. I thought that was the perfect analogy to go with Black Lives Matter, because right now, Black lives matter and Black lives need to matter. If you don't feel that way, then you are part of the problem. And I'm so sorry to say it, but you are. And you honestly need to check the people who are around you. Check your family, check your friends, check your peers, check the people you see on social media. If anybody is saying anything against Black Lives Matter or that is not correct, correct them. Tell them how it is and correct them, because honestly that is a step in the right direction. If you can change someone's mindset and you can get them on that track to Black Lives Matter and fighting for justice, then that is one less person we have to worry about. Like I said already, in the description down below I will have resources where you can go donate, where you can sign petitions. I will also link the video that I found on CNN from the George Floyd event. Do not watch that if you are sensitive to the story, but it is very eye-opening and it does show what Black people have to go through every day. And I hope that you can come along on this journey. I hope that you can use whatever voice that you have to help fight for justice, because it is needed in this country and it is needed more than ever. Because honestly, I feel like this is the time. 2020 has already been a whirlwind of craziness. You know, we are still in a pandemic. We have all these other things going on, but this seems like the time. It's a new decade. It's the time for change. It needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. Like I said, I hope you can come along on this journey. Share this video with whoever you want. I'd love for more people to see it. Like I said, I am a very small channel, but I would love for anybody who needs to see this video to see this video. Leave your comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys are going through, what you're experiencing, what your thoughts are on this whole situation, because we all need to be there for each other and we all need to be supportive of each other. Like I said, I will hopefully have a regular video out for you guys soon, but this needed to be said, and I hope that you understand why I felt like I had to post this video and why it needed to be put up. And I hope that everyone watching this also knows Black Lives Matter and we need justice. Bye guys.